Hey writers, Ingrid Sundberg here, and this is Ingrid's Notes, where I'm talking about creative writing, craft, and process. And lately I've been thinking a lot about the stories we tell ourselves and how stories in their essence are really stories about survival. They tell us how to live. I mean, think about that. Yes, stories can be fun and entertaining, but really fundamentally, they are telling us about how we're human, how to navigate relationships, how to live, how to survive, how to be good people. It's naive to think that stories don't actually affect the reader. I mean, no matter if you go to see Guardians of the Galaxy or you read Harry Potter or whatever type of story you're consuming, you are basically vicariously living those experiences with those characters, and you are learning fundamental, knowledge about who we are as humans and how we should navigate those situations. I mean, think about it this way. When your mom tells you not to touch a pan because it's hot, that is a story. It's a cautionary tale meant to protect you from being hurt. And in the same way, when you see Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream, which is a story about addiction, you're watching a cautionary tale about what might happen if you make certain choices in your life. And all stories work this way. They're not all cautionary tales, of course. Some are about how to find love, how to make friends, how to be a good person. But they are all in some way teaching us about how to be who we are. And this is why we love to see characters grow and overcome fears, change, have revelations, transform. We are addicted to that because this is how we also learn to change and become new people. We're addicted to story because it's how we create a catalog of lessons and triumphs and experiences and how we understand cause and effect. It's how we can start to, in our own lives, make decisions and choices based on what we've learned from the stories we've read and watched and consumed, which is a really powerful and amazing thing, both as a reader and as a storyteller. Okay, so the other reason that I have been thinking all about stories is not just for my role as a storyteller, but because I've been doing a month-long meditation course, and the primary question of that course is, how do the stories that we tell ourselves manifest our reality? Just think about that. How do the stories we tell ourselves day in, day out, read, watch, the stories we tell ourselves manifest the reality that we live in and what we believe? For example, here are some stories that we as authors often tell ourselves over and over again. Have you said any of these things to yourself? I'm never going to get published, so why bother? I have to work my ass off to succeed. It's not easy. It's hard. Writing is hard. I can't get up every morning to write. I need my sleep. I can never get ahead. I'm not good enough as a writer. Now think about those stories, those things we tell ourselves over and over again. How do they affect our intentions and then our actions or our lack of action? How do those stories actually cause us to act in our life and therefore create results or lack of results in our life? So part of this meditation class has been about asking questions that make you more aware of the stories you've told yourself, and asking really, where did those stories come from? Who told them to you? When did you start to believe them? So I just want to share a couple questions that have really kind of, hit me hard and made me start to really think deeply about the stories I've told myself. So here they are. What am I not allowing into my life because I don't care or I don't love myself enough to go for it? Why do I expect to find love outside of myself, from outside sources, and fail to find it from within? Why do I believe I am not a gift to the world? Why do I believe I am not a gift to the world? Am I unconsciously blocking myself Am I telling myself a negative story so that I can remain incomplete and incapable, and therefore it won't be my fault? Am I waiting for someone or something else to give me permission rather than going for it and taking action myself? Am I waiting for something else to happen, for my life to change, rather than taking action and changing it myself? Who told me I had to wait? Do I have a plan? If not, why not? What story am I telling myself? Do I not care enough about what I want enough to give myself a plan and actually make it happen? So what I'm learning is that there are deeply rooted stories in my history that have turned into beliefs, and they have really started to affect my actions and my output and my habits and really the day-to-day, everyday, how I live my life. That the stories I've told myself have that kind of power and influence over my life. So here's what I want all of us writers to do. I want us to get out our journals and I want us to write down a list of what we believe about writing. What are the stories about writing we are telling ourselves day in and day out? For example, how do you feel when you write? Do you feel like you can't write? Why? Do you not feel inspired? Why? Do you not want to write? Are you afraid you're not going to get published? Or if you're published, are you afraid that something negative is going to happen and you're going to repeat some sort of experience you had the first time you were published? Every belief you have about writing, right? Is it hard, or you don't have enough time, or you have an MFA so you should have been published already, or you're afraid of a rejection you're going to get for an editor and agent? I want you to write all of that down. What is it that you believe about writing? Now, I want you to take every single negative thing that is on that list, and I want to tell you that that story is done. It's over. It's complete. You're going to tear it up, burn it up, throw it away. That does not need to be the story that you tell yourself anymore. Right now, you get to start writing a completely new story. Every negative thing on that list, I want you to flip it around and write it into something positive, right? Wouldn't it be brilliant if you could actually tell yourself a new story? What if writing was easy? It was so freaking easy that you wrote just tons and tons of pages every day. What if you had more than enough time every day to write? Or that your book will most definitely be published and that you will do absolutely anything you can to make sure that it is published. What would happen? How would your habits and the things that you do from day to day when you sit down in your writing space, how would that change if those were the stories you were telling yourself every day? So you're a writer. This should not be hard. What I want you to do right now is start a new story. Once upon a time, there was a writer who felt like writing every day. She loved writing. It was absolute pure bliss. She felt like her words mattered. She felt like she had something to say, and she would do everything she could to put those words and that story out into the world. No one had to tell her that her words were important. She knew they were important, and she absolutely loved creating those stories. What's your story? Rewrite it. Once upon a time. This is Ingrid's Notes, and if you've been enjoying these videos, please subscribe. And I just want to leave you with some lyrics from Into the Woods, which are, "Be careful the tale you tell. That's the spell. Children will listen.